What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 174 of Park to Prem here with Town or Town. Today we are back. It is the middle of February. I've played for about 10 or 11 or maybe even 12 matches since we were last here. It's been a big, long gaming session. It's taken me about 3 hours, but we are here, we are back, and it is the Champions League knockout stage today. The first game of the knockout stage is against Dortmund, away from home. Away goals could prove crucial, so we're going to hope for a very good result here. You can see Zidane is now their manager. I didn't even realise last episode that he had left Manchester City to go to Dortmund, so yeah, a familiar foe there. Meanwhile, if you were wondering, over at Man City, Vitor Pereira is the new manager at Manchester City. Although, I'll be honest, with how they're doing in the league right now, who knows for how long he is going to be their manager, because they are sat down in fourth because, well, since you were last here, we've won every blooming game. What an insane run this is, and a sea of clean sheets to boot. Yeah, as I said, since last episode where we did the double header of West Ham and Manchester United, a very busy January. So let's just dive headfirst into this, I suppose. The first game we had was against Brighton. Brighton were actually in fourth in the league going into this game, so not an easy game by any means. And we got off to the perfect start, Mike Frost with a goal. We then had Andre get sent off in the 51st minute. However, we got a penalty not long after, scored it, and from there we were in cruise control. We put on the brakes, and ultimately we came out victors, which is all you can really ask for, isn't it? The very next game was against Sheffield United. It was in the EFL Cup where we were in the semi-final, and well, what better way to win the first leg of the semi-final than winning it 4-0. I'm not obviously going to show the highlights for all of these games because we would be here until the cows come home, but Ben, he got man of the match. Actually, no, he didn't get man of the match. He got his first ever senior goal. That's what I'm trying to say. He was my man of the match. I'll say that. And he has been showing absolutely insane development. We have currently got him trained as a roaming playmaker on support just to get as much TLC across all of his physicals alongside the quickness, additional focus. And he is really benefiting from it. This guy is really, really exciting. 19 fit vision, 16 work rate is still very good. Amazing technique, amazing passing. His determination, composure, it's all almost perfect, and he's 18. Yeah, he's got a bright future, I think it's safe to say. Anyway, the very next game was against Burnley, away from home at Turf Moor. Mike Frost with the first of these goals, and to be honest, Mike Frost has been in form. I don't think he's taken the fact he didn't win the Ballon d'Or this year particularly well. He got us off to a flyer, and then not long after that, you can see Maticevic with a long-range free kick. And, well, yeah, ultimately he scored in the back of the net. You can just see here, looking at the World Awards for this kind of calendar year just gone, Mandelli won the FIFA Man's Best Player, and if we look at the Ballon d'Or, where Mike Frost had won it the previous 4 years, he didn't win it this most recent year. He came third in it. The winner in the end was Mandelli, who, to be fair, is a very good player, and apparently Zidane is getting the most out of him. And we're, of course, against him today. So, yeah, a little bit scared for this game that we've got coming up against Dortmund because he's quite good. But Frost, as I said, he's not taking it very well and he's continued to get goals. And well, in the next game against Rotherham in the FA Cup, we rotated the team around. Alex Boyo playing in at right back. Hallgeir Martinson making his senior debut. A product of our academy, a player who I don't feel like has ever really been talked about that much. One of those players who's kind of just had development happen under the radar. But he made his debut here for us, the centre-back. And as far as fifth choice centre-backs go who's homegrown at club, I'd say he's about as good as you can hope for. So really, really like this guy. It was great to see him play in this game, and a 4-0 win was obviously superb. And well, we followed it up with a game against Norwich City at Carrow Road in the FA Cup 4th round. In this game, Stevie Norman with the first goal and Dylan Turnbull with the second. And I'll tell you now, Steve Norman, even though he's not scoring a load of goals, he's assisting quite a lot. He's got 10 assists in 22 league appearances, which is beyond solid. And, well, at 23 years old, he's continuing to develop. I mean, you look at him here, just an incredibly exciting player. I know when we signed him for £68 million a few years ago, eyebrows were raised. And to be fair, his first couple of years at the team was slow. Obviously, was out on loan at Juventus last year, where he really developed and came back to the club a man. And he's a man who's putting in some exceptional performances right now, including in this game here. The next game we had was against West Ham. It was 6-0. Mike Frost with a hat-trick. Shvetsov, Norman and Maticevic with the goals as well. Nice variety of goal scorers there. And well, we followed it up with a game against Crystal Palace. A couple of games in London in quick succession. I say in London, they were both at home actually, so they weren't in London, it was teams from London coming to us, but we won this one 3-1, Shvetsov with the opener, then perhaps the worst goal I've seen all year. I posted the whole highlight for this goal on Twitter if you want to see it, at WorkTheSpace, but in the end it was a goalkeeper own goal. Dylan Turnbull then added a third for us in this game, and then Dan McKenzie scored a crazy free kick. Could Morrigan have saved it? Maybe, coulda, shoulda, woulda. It didn't matter. 3-1, it finished. A comfortable win, a comfortable result. And, at this point here, with this win, we really start to pull away at the top of the league table. And I feel like the league table is won, and the league title is won, even if there is still, I think, 10 or 11 games left of the year. Anyway, second leg of the EFL Cup came around, rotated the team a little bit for this game, which was nice to be able to do, and we won 4-1 in the end, so 8-1 on aggregate, and in the EFL Cup final, if we just take a cheeky peek, we are going to be taking on Chelsea at Wembley, and that will probably be coming your way next episode, so yeah, prepare for that one. Anyway, we have more recently shifted our focus to the league. In the first of the games we played Watford, Mike Frost with the solitary goal in this game, not a bad goal by any means, continuing on with his fine goal-scoring form. And the very next game against Coventry, our former affiliates away from home. Mike Frost doesn't like Coventry. Yeah, some really nice goals scored here. He got 4 in this game, did Mike Frost, and it was just a lovely, lovely game. I've noticed that with the new system, Frost just seems to be at the back post for a lot of headers, and he certainly was in this run of games. But I tell you what, in this game, I think his third goal it was, superb passing move, some really, really beautiful football. And, we just looked great in this game. Mike Frost, he is now, I believe, joint top goal scorer with Shvetsov in the Premier League. They both have 16 goals, so suddenly Shvetsov has gone from being our outright top goal scorer in the league by a comfortable amount to Mike Frost breathing down his neck, and of course the hat-trick and this 4-goal game, really the difference makers there. Who is going to end up being top goal scorer this year? Could Mike Frost overtake Shvetsov? I don't think he can in all competitions, but certainly he's got a chance now in the league off the back of that game there. Anyway, final game was against Arsenal, a 1-0 win. Shvetsov with the solitary goal. Very, very happy about that. And that catches you up. That brings you up to date. As I said, lots of games played, lots of good results. And then, in the January transfer window, you might sit there wondering, Jack, what have you done? Has there been business? Of course there's been bloody business. It's me, Mr. Business. Mr. That's not going to stick as a name, is it? But if we just have a look here, we have spent, where is the transfer? Where here it is, 41 million on Paul Hemingway. 41 million. It's a lot of money. I think he's very good, though. He's 18 years old, he's English, and I mean, look at him. Look at him. Doesn't have the best passing, but besides that, for a player with some very good potential, who is English, I had the money to spend. He's already got, really good height in terms of his aerial ability, really good speed. Really, it's just about padding him out technically as a footballer. And at 18 years old, I think he could be something really, really special. He's already scored for us in the FA Cup, which is obviously great to see. I've got high hopes. Will he be able to live up to those hopes? We will find out in due course. With him joining the club, I will hold up my hands and apologise to a certain player that many of you were quite excited about, but I do, at the end of the day, I'm always looking at ways that we can make ourselves better, and Guy Ford is the man who, unfortunately, with this addition of Hemingway, has moved out of the team. You can see here, Hemingway is about 16 months his junior, so a lot younger. And when you compare the two, whilst Ford is a little bit better now, I want him getting regular first-team football, playing for Atalanta. Paul Hemingway, I think, longer term, is the more kind of significant option, I suppose, in terms of the striking department and what he could offer longer term. Anyway, a quick overview of the squad here. You can see the overall wages for our team have absolutely ballooned in a crazy way. It didn't really dawn on me until very recently that we now have the second highest wage spend in the league, and we're only behind Man City now. We've become the bad guys. I have done a bit of math. You can see here our overall club balance is still in excess of £200 million. Although over the course of every year now, with the new wages, we are going to lose quite a lot of money. I've done some napkin maths, and I believe that every transfer window we're going to have to make about £80 million in sales in order to stay afloat. Longer term, that is. Of course, we've got a lot of money in the kitty right now to rely on. So one thing I did over the January period is really just invest in a load of exciting youngsters. Some of these aren't particularly cheap, some of them are very, very cheap, but all of them kind of come with the overarching theme of, I need to raise some money. this is how I'm going to raise some money. So we'll have to see how it gets on. You will notice, or you may have noticed on this screen here, our hot prospect is a different player for once. It is actually this guy, Patrick Frank, who is a Danish right winger. Really like this guy a lot. Very well rounded. Curious for the fact that he's now labelled as our hot prospect. I would have Mr. Ben down as our key prospect, to be honest. He's just so good, but I mean, who am I to judge? Maybe the media, maybe they know something that I don't when it comes to players. Anyway, quick look at the league table before we get into today's Champions League tie against Dortmund. This is how the league table looks. Mike Frost and Shvetsov, as I already said, top goal scorers in the competition, having their own little battle at the top. Kevin Kaiser got the highest average playing deep line playmaker, not entirely surprising. It's always a position and a role within our team tends to be rated very highly when it comes to the match engine. And finally, in the assist chart, Steve Norman, I mentioned his 10 assists. That is the most in the league. So you could look at him and say, as a striker, he's not scoring enough. I look at him and say, as a kind of playmaking option, he's doing just fine, and he has been really good. So fair play to you, Steve. Morrigan and Alvin John battling it out for the Golden Glove award, although Dennis Leff is not far behind, and Dennis Leff at 21 years old is absolutely nuts. I kind of want to sign him, I'm going to be honest, but I don't know how we'll ever be able to afford him from Man City, and I don't know if I can justify a Mike Frost-esque transfer for a goalkeeper in football manager. It just doesn't feel worth it in my heart. But anyway, as I said, today we are going to be focusing on the first leg of the Champions League. It's a big game for us, away from home as well, so a little bit of pressure on our shoulders, I think, to get a few away goals, to get ourselves off to the best possible start. In terms of the team for today's game, we are going to go with what I consider to be our best 11 right now. So that involves, of course, Morrigan in goal, continuing on with his clean sheet ways. In the centre-back positions, we're going to go with Cesar, and alongside him it's going to be McCassie. Cesar has just continued to improve this year, has kicked up a fuss recently about renewing his contract, although, you know, he's still got 3 years left on his current deal and he's asking for £250,000. I'm going to be honest, when you compare him to the other players in our squad, he is probably worth those wages, but at the same time, it's a lot of money for a centre-back, especially someone who already has a significant amount of time left on their current deal. McCassie alongside him, of course, has kind of just established himself as the second in kin, I suppose, when it comes to the centre-back position. Although I will be honest, with the development that we are seeing from Craig Austin, I do see a world in which he becomes the starting centre-back of choice, you know, maybe in the coming 6 months, coming year for sure. Higher up the pitch, we've got Kaiser at deep line playmaker. To the left, it's Vincent, who's been in some good little formats of late. Hasn't contributed too much going forward in terms of assists, but, well, maybe you noticed with all the highlights that we were showing, he definitely is involved in the build-up play very frequently. Mateus Aurelio, similar story out on the right-hand side. In the Champions League, he has a 7.6 average rating, so we will hope that he can continue that on today. In the centre of the midfield, it's going to be Matasevic and Holman alongside each other. Up top, we are going to go with the tremendous trio. It is the Norman, Shvetsov and Frost show. 2 false nines flanking Shvetsov, and well, hopefully we are going to see the goals aplenty today. I want some away goals. I want to see Shvetsov getting close to 50 goals this year. He's currently on 32 for the season. Plenty of football still to be played. Don't think he's quite on course for 50, but we can dare to dream. And dare to dream we shall in this game here. Let's get into this. This is scary, this is big. Away from home, it's perhaps a little bit of a gamble to play as attacking as we are. Of course, last year in the first round of the Champions League knockout stages, we were embarrassed by Bayern Munich. We will hope that today we can set the record straight. We are better than all the German teams. Let's show them what we're made of. Of course, we have played Dortmund before. We keep getting drawn against German teams. I feel like German has kind of been a theme of the series. Of course, we've already seen their key player. He won the Ballon d'Or. He's up front for them. I assume he's their number 9. Although let's not talk about that yet, because with 20 seconds gone, Frost is on the attack. Oh my word! If he scores that, it's the perfect start. The keeper though making a huge stop for Borussia Dortmund inside the first minute, the first clear-cut chance of the game. Let's hope that's a sign of things to come, as the cross goes all the way across the 6-yard box and no one is there to turn it goalwards. Yeah, it is Mandelli. Mandelli's their big key player. He's the Ballon d'Or winner, the Italian stallion, the beast from the south. It doesn't work. Beast from the northeast works. Beast from the south doesn't work. I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's focus on the game, Jack. Come on, head in the game. Can we defend this? They've got lots of players in the centre here, and while they're going to launch the ball forward, Morrigan collects those. Superb sweeping by the Spaniard. Look at him with his captain armband on. I love him. I love him. Is it wrong to love a regen? Maybe, but I don't care. McCassie to Vincent. Bringing the ball forward. Loads of space for him to run down. They are defending very narrowly. Vincent skips past all his men. Can he pull it back? He can, and Holman. Oh, it's a really good attempted finish, to be honest, but the keeper gets down to it. I feel like there was a degree of mercy shown there by Holman in his finish. He looked to place it, and unfortunately the keeper made a top-notch save. Although we're on the attack again. Look how many men we have forward. Frost nodding it down to Shvetsov. Unfortunately, on this occasion, Shvetsov couldn't repay the favour with the pass forward. It's going to be now with Rigamonti to distribute it out with a throw, although that is won by Maticevic. He's pretty good in the air, is Maticevic, the giant Bosnian. He's bringing the ball forward. Can he finish it? Oh my word, the outside of the post, maybe even just the side netting. What a top draw effort by him. I'm pretty happy with what we've seen so far. We are having so many chances, but we need away goals. We need some goals, everyone. And we could be in danger here as Salto brings it down the right-hand side for Dortmund. Options lining up in the middle. The ball in. And I'll tell you what, Morrigan and Cesar have a breakdown in communication there. I feel like Cesar just needs to deal with it. Unfortunately, he did not. Daniele Mandelli. What a name that is to say. It sounds like a nursery rhyme character, doesn't it? Daniele Mandelli. Oh, he gets to the header. He's not even very good in the air. What happens here? Let's have a look. Ball whipped in. I mean, Cesar just misses his header. Morrigan's positioning is questionable at best, but I mean, that should be the number 36 is there. Is this the punishment from the FM gods for the fact I've numbered my first choice centre-back as a number 36? It's all coming back to bite me. Anyway, they've got another chance here. Ball whipped in and Salto makes it 2-0. And suddenly, in a game where we had all the chances, we were holding all the cards, they're on Uno and we're having problems. I guess holding all the cards as an expression is meant for when you're in control. Whereas I just thought of Uno, where actually you're in control when you don't have many cards. We're not playing top trumps. This is bloomin' Uno. And Dortmund, then they're announcing duo. Or does. It wouldn't be duo, Jack. Uno. Let's just move on. Let's move on. They're shouting duo. It's not great, though, is it? It's not great. It's probably the understatement of the year. We can't lose to another German team in the knockout stages. Cesar, back to Morrigan. They're having their own little passing session at the back. McCassie switches the play. It's also worth noting, I've not talked about it yet, prior to this game, we have gone an entire calendar year unbeaten. I want to keep that record going today, boys. Vincent whips in. Frost is there. Can he pull it back? No. What was that, Mike? What was that, Mike? Kaiser, Aurelio. We go again. Frost, Aurelio. Options queuing up. Options queuing up. Huge tackle, though, by Dortmund. Although, is VAR about to give us a penalty? That is questionable. Right, Shvetsov, you've scored a lot of penalties as of late. You've missed a few as of late. I need you to score this one, please, Andre. Please. That'll do us. 2-1. They had a player in the penalty area as it was struck as well, which I'm assuming VAR would have interfered with should we have scored. What was the player doing here? I mean, that's illegal. Someone needs to explain to Raul Tenglong that you're not allowed to stand in the D on penalties. I don't even know what to explain what's just happened there. Either way, it's 2-1. Let's get a little bit shouty. It's not been the best of first halves in terms of scoreline, but I feel a little bit better about how it's just ended. I expect to see a much better performance in the second half. I'll tell you what, Holman's had a pretty poor game, which I don't feel like is an unusual thing. There's probably that wants to just chuck in Remy Chalet early. But you know what? We are going to keep faith with the Argentine. Let's show him faith. Let's not just throw him on the scrap pile just yet and haul him off the pitch. Plenty of football left to be played. Although I want to keep the unbeaten run going. I want us to at least draw this game. Let's make some changes. Holman off for Remy Chalet. Elsewhere in the team, Norman's been a bit quiet today. So I'm going to bring in Claudio Cancina. And we will hold on to our last sub for now. But some pretty scary options coming on off the bench for us. And while we have a highlight starting finally, it's taken a decent 35 minutes, or not 35, 25 minutes into the second half for us to get something. And it's Vincent, the left back. Oh my, well that's the kind of finish I expect from a left back, to be honest. He's just skewed it wide of the mark. Time is trickling away. Let's go more direct. Let's go higher tempo, boys. We need to get the ball forward. We need to be more attacking with it. 10 minutes left. Throw on the cavalry. Throw on the secret weapon. Dylan Turnbull, come on down. Oh, we have 5 minutes left to try and save our bacon. 5 minutes left to keep our unbeaten run going. It's just trickling away. Not like this, Football Manager. Show me something. It's gone. It's gone. It's 2-1 here. And that is not a very good first leg performance. Oh, we've got an away goal, but that doesn't really save us in the grand scheme of things. We finally lose. For the first time in a while, Vincent out for 4 to 5 weeks is less than ideal. And I mean, oh, they're very good at Dortmund. They are very good. They're predicted to finish top of the Bundesliga. Strobel for them is not a bad defender. I think it would be fair to say. Mandelli, of course, winning the Golden Ball and also the Ballon d'Or. Or rather, FIFA World Player of the Year and the Ballon d'Or. The Golden Ball is the name that the Ballon d'Or is given in Football Manager when it's not licensed. But it's not enough. It's not enough. The world is not enough. 2-1 is not enough. And I'm a little bit heartbroken because we've had such a long sea of green and, well, a little bit of orange in there. But it's been such a long sea of green and finally it comes to a screeching halt right here and now. Anyway, in terms of next episode, guys, we're going to have the EFL Cup final and the Champions League knockout round second leg against Dortmund. They are spaced out a little bit. In between, we've got a couple of fairly big games, but to be honest with how the Premier League is playing out, I feel like we can just put that completely to the back of our minds for now. You can see here, we currently sit 18 points ahead of Manchester United with 11 games left of the year. I don't want to say the league is wrapped up, but it absolutely is wrapped up. So with that in mind, you know, we're going to shift our focus onto the various cup competitions that we are in going forward, I feel like, for the rest of the season now. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. I will apologise. The amount of games I've played between this episode and the previous one was a little bit of a weird amount. I feel like there was quite a lot to recap as the catch-up in the earlier portion of today's video. In hindsight, it probably would have been a good idea to do a match somewhere in between. But you know what? You live, you learn. Hopefully, we are going to learn from this Dortmund game. We need to come back stronger. We need to improve. I hope to see you guys tomorrow for it. Thank you for watching. And as always, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.